Hello, welcome to PlayStation Access. My name is Rob. Joining us today is Dave.
Hello.
I have been playing Atomfall.
Show
Dave.
off, I know.
I went to an event recently, got about 2 hours hands-on with the game. It was very interesting because I really liked it. We were just let loose in the world. There was no preamble. There was no, here's the setting, here's the deal.
Yeah.
I didn't get to play the opening at all, which I really liked. So I'm still unsure as to the setup of this post-apocalypse. But what I do know about it is that it's set in the UK. It's set in a fictional area of the Lake District. And I think we've had our eye on this for quite some time. Just the lure, the excitement we get when something is set in Britain.
Yeah.
Because most of the time it's in America.
I think that's okay, isn't it? Is it a bit selfish? I don't know. I'm really excited to see.
I think it's cool.
And it's not even set that it's set in Britain. It's set in a reimagined Britain after this, whatever it is.
Yes. So, I mean, you may have heard online the elevator pitch for Atomfall as being a bit like Fallout, but set in the UK.
Yeah.
And I can kind of understand where those comparisons are coming from. It's an alternate history past.
Yes.
So this is like, it's like the world has stopped in the 50s, but it's like a different version of the 50s where retro-futuristic robots are a thing.
Yeah.
And so you'll probably see a few of those. But everything else in the game feels very old still. From the military uniforms to how the villages look. And I was dumped in this area called the Casterfell Woods. And in the distance you can see like the hills of the Lake District. And having done a few walks there, I immediately was just like, oh yeah, I can immediately just picture what it's like to walk along those footpaths between villages. So it's not like a densely populated urban area.
Yeah.
You're exploring mines and train tunnels and, villages. There's a village called Wyndham, which I wonder if it's influenced by John Wyndham, the author, the famous author of some post-apocalyptic, very British post-apocalyptic science fiction.
Yeah.
So that's the vibe. But really, I spent 2 hours I wasn't interested in progressing the story. I just wanted to poke around, see how the game reacted to various things. But also what I found was a few very pleasing Britishisms that I want to tell you about. Initially, I was thinking I'm just going to wade in here. I'm just going to kill some bandits, kill some druids.
Yeah.
And I quickly learned that is not the way to play Atomfall.
Right, okay.
I was immediately killed
and
overwhelmed by 2 or 3 druids.
Yeah.
You do have to play this carefully. Ammo is incredibly scarce.
What kind of weapons do you have?
So I started with a rusty rifle, which had 2 or 3 bits of ammo in it.
Yeah.
I really enjoy how if you get a headshot, the enemy's just going to go down straight away. But it's hard to get a headshot. It's hard to sneak up on people. You can perform stealth takedowns if you manage to get the drop on someone.
Yeah.
But it's quite difficult to do that. And so you'll be looting enemies. And if you find 1 bullet on an enemy, that's like, oh, yes.
Yes, a good day.
Oh, yeah, I've got a bullet.
Yeah.
And choosing when to deploy said bullet will be like, it's a major decision.
Right.
Like, do I take the shot here, or do I save the bullet for maybe something else a bit later down the line? At one stage, I had like a revolver with 5 bullets in it, and I felt like a king.
Yes.
I was like, oh yes.
I'm
so rich.
I really appreciate that mechanic. I always enjoyed it in making ammo feel valuable, making that decision feel important every time. Of course, it's fun to run in sort of willy-nilly and not be worrying about it, but I think there's much more reward when you do then use that 1 bullet to get a headshot or something like that.
Yeah.
It feels like, that was the right time to use it. I feel good about that. It's
almost survival horror-esque in that respect, where the management of resources is a major component of the moment-to-moment gameplay loop.
Yeah.
So there's a bow and arrow you can find. There are melee weapons, so knives and like rusty hatchets and axes, and you can use those as melee weapons, or you can throw them.
Oh, yes.
Which again, that feels like a big decision. So it's like, there's a guy down there. I haven't got any bullets on me. Do I want to sacrifice my axe? Because as soon as you throw it, unless you can get down there and pick it up again, that might be the last time you see that axe.
Yeah.
So again, there's like a real sort of a choice, significant choice when it comes to engaging with people, especially people you want to fight.
Yeah.
But I really enjoyed it, and I just enjoyed the fact that it was set in the Lake District woods, and there were druids, and they had a Wicker Man.
Yeah.
You've got all this iconic sort of very British horror imagery.
Yeah.
The Wicker Man, very, very prominent. I think just through osmosis, that image of the Wicker Man on the hill is probably instilled in everyone's mind as something that is just terrifying and outside of the realms of the law. Like, you see that and you're like, I'm immediately feelings of helplessness and, oh my God,
yes.
I'm at the mercy of this lawless group of
exactly. I think there's
awful people.
There is something a bit scary about the countryside and about
for sure,
and about communities, close-knit communities, and being an outsider in that world. Like, it's already like puts you on edge, and I think there's lots of stuff written about that. And so I think it's a really clever setting, actually.
Yeah.
The countryside, because it's also, and it's beautiful as well, and it's lovely to see some beautiful British countryside being portrayed in a game. But yeah, it's that kind of glossy surface, but beneath the surface is a sort of a darkness, scary darkness.
100%. It is beautiful, and this sunlit, leafy paths and glades, and then you come to a village, and this village was occupied by a group of military, like keeping the peace there.
Right.
But as soon as you enter this village, I just immediately felt on edge and uneasy. Like, everyone's looking at me.
Yeah.
Quite how you might feel if you just stumble across a random village in the UK.
Yeah.
Like, probably everyone in the UK has had this experience where you're somewhere you haven't been before, and you're like, oh, there's a nice pub here, let's go in here, see what. And you open the pub, and immediately you realise it was a mistake to go in that pub.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, I am not welcome here. And then you just have to in a very British way, excuse yourself without drawing attention to yourself. Like, that's happened to me a couple of times.
Yeah.
And you get that sort of odd feeling, like something doesn't feel quite right. There was a place called Datlow Hall, like an old-fashioned country manor, very run down. The apocalypse has not been kind to this place.
Yeah.
Ivy growing up the walls, coming inside, everything is decrepit inside. And there was a lady in there called Prudence with a pearl necklace.
Oh, hello there. You must forgive me. I wasn't expecting visitors today.
Who was talking about a friend of hers called Jenks, who'd gone off to the dam northwest and hadn't come back. And it's the classic RPG side quest. I'm going to have to go and find this person.
Yeah.
But there was something just very strange about Prudence.
Right.
I was just walking around, I could just hear her going, I think I'll have beef Wellington for dinner tonight. Yeah, it's very nice. I was like, how are you making that, Prudence?
Yeah.
Your kitchen is a state. There's mouldy bread. There's flies all around the place.
Yeah. And had you seen a cow, Rob, at any point?
No cows.
All right.
Certainly no nice beef in the fridge.
Yeah.
Or pastry with which you could actually make a beef Wellington. So not knowing like the narrative setup of Atomfall and going into this sort of not knowing what's going on.
Yeah.
There was this quite pleasurable, unsettling feeling running through all of it.
Yeah.
I then killed Prudence. I wanted to see.
Oh my God.
I wanted to see if you could kill quest-giving NPCs.
Yeah. And
you can.
I mean, I think that is a valuable bit of information that you've shared, and that's the sort of that is what I want from Atomfall. That kind of stuff.
She told me about Jenks, the person who hadn't been seen for a couple of days.
Yeah.
And it gave me like the little, you can track this quest if you like.
Yeah.
I just chucked a grenade at her feet. She was like, what's this? And a little message just came up, very unsentimental at the top of the screen. Quest completed, or lead resolved.
Lead resolved.
So I won't be doing that quest then.
I love that ammo is incredibly scarce, and you saw fit to throw a grenade at a woman who was telling you about her dinner.
That was before I had really learned the full scale of how valuable
that
ammo would be.
Was gold
and
dust.
I was very much regretting using that grenade later on in my playthrough. But other things I just really enjoyed. So one of my go-to weapons was a cricket bat.
Yeah.
Just there's something very British about a cricket bat.
Yeah.
And there are like nests of horrible radioactive wasps that you can encounter.
Wasps again.
And at one stage, I was there swatting at these wasps with a cricket bat, thinking, this is so British.
It is.
This is exactly what a British summer day would be like.
In a beer garden.
On the lawn, playing a little round of cricket, and suddenly, a wasp! Oh! Swatting
100%,
at it. But these were like, very big, dangerous, post-apocalyptic wasps. Like train tunnels. There's always like... they're both alluring and terrifying train tunnels, especially disused, abandoned ones. There's one near where we live in Bath. There's like a cycle path that goes through an old abandoned
very near my house.
Train tunnel. And I've been through it a couple of times, and I both love it and I'm quite scared of it at the same time.
It's long. It's where you can be in the middle and you can't see either end.
Yeah, it's and there was a train tunnel a bit like that in the game. And I was I've got to go in there. And I went in there, and these horrible sort of undead zombie creatures were living in there.
Oh, God.
And I was quickly killed. But
where's my grenade?
Yeah, I used the grenade on prudence, unfortunately. But just stuff like that I really enjoyed. There are like phone booths dotted around the place, the significance of which I don't quite understand yet, but one of them I passed started ringing as I passed.
Ooh.
I picked up the phone and there was a mysterious voice on the other end.
That's cool.
How that weaves into the story, I don't yet know. But again,
that's another
cool
brilliantly
and mysterious.
Another brilliantly scary thing, I think. Just phone boxes are used to ring people.
Yes.
They're not meant to be rung.
No.
And it's so, if I ever was walking past a phone box and it rang, I think I'd be so scared to answer it. That's very cool.
I miss phone boxes. I think we're probably of the age where we never really used phone boxes a lot. Like we might have, I think I've used one once at Paddington train station a long time ago before I had my own personal phone.
Yeah.
But just there's something about going in, closing yourself in that little room, picking up the clunky receiver, dialing the numbers.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it. So, yes, going into the village of Wyndham then, occupied by this military, doing whatever they're doing, just keeping the peace, making sure nothing goes wrong. I, of course, just in my experiments... I wonder what happens if I stealth kill one of these soldiers. What happens is they immediately all start hunting you down.
Yes.
Of course.
Seems fair.
I had this, again, it felt very British, I got into the village, trying to find my way out of the village again through these like winding, like claustrophobic, cramped streets. There's like little brick houses, stone houses all over the place. I'm like, I've been here before.
Yeah.
How the hell did I get here? How do I get out? And I'm like
great.
trying to sneak around, climbing up little water towers and stuff, stabbing the occasional soldier who's on his own, trying to find my way out, and then legging it through the countryside again.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's an exaggerated version of what you'd experience in Britain. But just being lost in a village that you don't know. Yeah. I just really enjoyed it. And it is, on the surface level, you've got like an open world, post-apocalyptic role-playing adventure game with skill trees and ammo pickups and side quests and all that good stuff. Yeah. But the fact that there is this Britishness to it, for me and for us and for other people living in the UK, I think that adds the UK an extra layer of intrigue and enjoyment.
Definitely, and I mean, I hope it's valuable and exciting for people outside the UK too, to get a sort of, especially because it's being made by a British studio. It's we're quite wry, I think, as a nation, quite self-deprecating, and hopefully it will be fun to see a British game developer's point of view of a sort of alternate Britain, and with lots of little in-jokes, I'm sure, about what we're like and the things we do. I mean, did you see? Were there any jokes about tea in there? Tea bags have any value in the game? That's probably the currency.
I hope so. I didn't experience or remember any sort of direct references to tea, but there's got to be tea.
There'll be tea in there.
There'll be tea for sure.
I'm really excited about it.
I forgot to mention the metal detector.
Oh, that's
There's
cool.
a metal detector.
I know what it is, but tell me more.
Literally just a metal detector, and that's a way to find items,
bits and pieces,
and you just.
Very British again.
Yeah, I could easily. It reminded me immediately of one of my favourite TV shows, The Detectorists. Yeah. I will happily spend a good half an hour just walking around in the middle of nowhere, following the beeps on this metal detector and digging up old cans. Occasionally you'll come across a bit of ammo and it's like, yes, score.
That is super valuable. Yeah, I'm really excited about Atomfall, not just for everything we've described, but because Rebellion are making it. I really enjoyed the Sniper Elite games. I think they're really fun. Like I think that's important. That's part of the brief, is to make a fun game. You know, not just a interesting story, an interesting setting. Like it needs to be fun, and I think they're really good at understanding fun game mechanics and gunplay and stuff like that. So I'm very much looking forward to getting my hands on it, and I'm very jealous that you got your hands on it.
So Atomfall is coming to PlayStation on March the 27th. Please do let us know in the comments what you make of the game. If you're planning on picking it up day one, we will hopefully have more on the game before its release. Until then, thanks for watching. We'll see you again soon.